U.S. complicit in this nightmare, says Bernie Sanders. After Trump-backed Saudi coalition kills over 100 in bombing of Yemeni prison, Congress has declared this war unconstitutional. We must now stand up to Trump and defund all U.S. involvement in these horrors.
Here's a summary of the article.
In what was described as its deadliest attack on Yemen this year, the US-backed Saudi-led coalition on Sunday killed more than 100 people with airstrikes on a detention center in Dhamma City, forcing aid workers to divert medical supplies intended for the nation's cholera epidemic to treat victims of the bombing. Franz Rauchenstein, head of the International Committee of the Red Cross delegation in Yemen, which responded to the attack and searched for survivors under the rubble, called the bombing disturbing and a likely war crime. The human cost of this war is unbearable. We need it to stop. Yemenis deserve a peaceful future. Accountability needs to prevail. Martin Griffiths, UN Special Envoy to Yemen. The Saudi-led coalition's latest air raid comes months after President Donald Trump vetoed a war powers resolution that would have ended U.S. military cooperation with Saudi Arabia's years-long assault on Yemen, which has created the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Senator Bernie Sanders, a 2020 Democratic presidential candidate who led the war powers effort in the Senate, said Sunday that U.S. bombs, logistical support, and intelligence for the Saudi dictatorship's airstrikes make us complicit in this nightmare. Congress has declared this war unconstitutional, tweeted Sanders. The conflict in Yemen is claiming too many civilian victims and others not taking part in hostilities, Carboni said following Sunday's bombing.
This post received a score of 28,370, with an upvote ratio of 86%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
But then what will North America spend their money on? Infrastructure and healthcare? Yay right.
Please don't lump us Canadians in with them. Edit, Jeepers team, I get it, Canada isn't a beacon of morality, I never claimed we are. I just don't want to be lumped in with other countries. Plus we do spend money on healthcare. And yes, Mexico too, but I wasn't going to speak for them.
We aren't so innocent when it comes to Saudi Arabia either. Underrated.
Hey, as long as they're bombing with Raytheon and flying with Lockheed, I don't see the problem.
Minor note that doesn't detract from your point, all U.S.-sourced Saudi strike fighters are F-15 variants built by McDonnell Douglas, now part of Boeing, not Lockheed Martin. Also, a substantial component of the Saudi Air Force uses European-built Typhoons and Tornadoes, so the U.S. isn't the only guilty party here. The Western world is complicit.
Lockheed does get the distinct honor of blowing up the most children on a school bus, though. There ought to be a satirical awards ceremony called the Conflictees where defense contractors and politicians win prizes for outstanding achievements in bloodshed.
The atrocities.
The Genevas. The aristocrats.
Besides voting, is there anything I can do as a U.S. citizen to help stop their bombing campaign?
Write your senators and representative informing them of your opinions. It's not much, but if everyone does it, change can happen. Congress has power of the purse, they can halt funding.
It's not just funding. Congress can block any deal involving weapons.
Greater than Congress could block any deal involving weapons. But they won't. Every man has his price, and the military spendability of the USA will happily placate anyone wishing to speak up.
Source material cites Sanders, he's speaking up, good luck.
I love Sanders, but he's spoken up about a ton of terrible ideas that have still gone through. One man isn't enough, we need everyone involved.
In a democracy it's around half. The point is people are speaking up and trying.
2/3 if you're not the same party as what's in the White House.
To be honest, an American presidential candidate who can acknowledge that their government has played a part in committing war crimes is already a massive step forward than those who stay silent while the blood on their hands accumulate.
My God, imagine having someone principled in a high office for a change. I have a lot of relatively minor reservations about Bernie Sanders, and I don't often like to get explicitly political, but I have to say, he's been remarkably, bluntly honest with himself and the public for what seems to be his entire public career, and he has a good head on his shoulders, replete with empathy, no less. It's a description that fits absolutely no one else that comes to mind who is also involved in politics at that level.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.